Because at the end, she talking about season 25.
Girl.
So I said, oh, this was a publicity stunt, honey. Welcome back in, everyone. This is Black Girls Talking TV, where we bring the group chat to life and discuss all your favorite TV shows. Today is all about the new docuseries about America's Next Top Model called Reality Check Inside America's Next Top Model. We are covering all 3 episodes. I am Victoria. I am one of your hosts, and I'm a psychologist.
And I'm Kamaria. I'm an attorney and a pop culture writer. Before we get into this America's Next Top Model breakdown, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell so you can know when we publish great episodes, and hype us up, and tell us in the comments. Like, we got some opinions. We want to hear y'all's. So talk to us in the comments, and let's get into it. So first of all, like, this was, let's set the stage. America's Next Top Model premiered in May of 2003. Like, long time ago.
Long time ago. I was 10.
I ain't got time. Girl. Yeah. I was in high school. I was in high school, and I didn't watch it at that time, though. I started watching it when I was in college. I remember that's when I really was like, yeah, like all the girls used to go down into the basement, turn on the basement TV and watch it together. Like, it was a thing. Like, you didn't miss girl time down in the dorm.
That's true.
But yeah, no, it was very fun. Met some great folks down in the basement watching America's Next Top Model. They did 24 seasons, and that's so interesting. So let's just do overall thoughts right now about the docuseries and like some of the things that we learned. Like, what were your overall thoughts?
I think overall, I don't think it was the best documentary in terms of how it was pieced together.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like what we saw is what we saw. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there was a lot of new information that came from it. Like, I feel like if you sat down, if you were one of the people who binged America's Next Top Model during COVID, you saw all of this, right? Like, it was all we didn't get no real behind the scenes for real stuff. So I feel like it was just kind of like, yeah, this happened. And of course, we'll go over everyone's reactions and the accountability that was taken or not taken, X, Y, and Z. But I just didn't think it was the best documentary out of, just documentaries that I've seen. I wouldn't put it up there as a good one.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Like, it was entertaining. I do feel like there were a few things that I did learn in terms of just like the essay that Shandi spoke about. I didn't know anything about that, but I remember watching that episode, but it's vague. I don't remember the details. I don't remember what was shown and what wasn't, but I didn't know that it was an essay, Yeah. I don't even think that at that time I would have had the language to understand that either way,
Definitely not,
because it would have, a lot of times, such uninformed opinions, young girls will be like, oh, they did that. They chose to do this. And it's like, there's layers, and alcohol really complicates situations. And so that was surprising. And even just looking back at some of the moments I do remember, like with Kenya and the male model who was dancing her, I remember that. Like, I remember that very clearly. And so just seeing it as a older woman in my 30s, I'm like, this is interesting to watch back and reflect through a different lens. But overall, I will say that the biggest thing that struck me was Tyra's lack of accountability, lack of like wanting to acknowledge anything wrong. And we'll get into that a little bit, but that kind of was the overall thing to me that was surprising. I do think that she did some great things with the show. Like, I think it's like one of those like double-edged swords, but I do think there was accountability that was not taken. So,
Yeah, well, let's get into it. Do we want to start with Tyra and her lack of accountability? I felt like it was a really large lack of accountability. And I think what was the most disheartening thing was just hearing the experiences of the Black women, hoping that Tyra was going to stick up for them and advocate for them, knowing that she was the person to say, like, kiss my fat ass and all the other things, and Black women can't do this, can't do that. I was in the industry and told X, Y, and Z, and it's like, you're not only replicating what was done to you, but you're doing it to the women that you said, like, I don't want you to have this type of experience. And then when you add in the other layers connected to race, like you're ashy and all the other things, I was just like, girl, come on now. Like, you can't take accountability for that. We're not going to take accountability for that.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, the thing that I will say this documentary helped me to see more clearly was that these girls really were exploited. I think Danielle said it at the end that, like, their dreams and their hopes were used to basically, this show was
Create this
built off the back
platform.
of their hopes and their dreams. And I think it would be different if this show was producing outcomes like American Idol. Like, that's Clay Aiken, Ruben Studdard, Fantasia, Jennifer Hudson, Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood. That's just off the top of my head. And I'm not even a fan of the show. And so I guess I feel like if we had that same sort of Rolodex of folks. Now, you do have your Evas, you have your Yaya from America's Next Top Model, and a couple of the ladies featured seem to have gone on and maybe done something like the plus size model. But so many of them that were winners, like Danielle or Brie, just were not speaking. They were winners. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're winners. Like, winners should be having some level of success apart from just contestants. That's how I feel. And so you don't have that sort of end of the rainbow for at least your winners. I think it's very exploitive, because I thought, like, oh, these girls are going through all this, but they're about to be, you know, like when I was watching,
they're gonna make it. Yes, right.
They're making it big, and this is what you got to do. And she's being tough because the industry's gonna be tough, and you're gonna be able to be molded and step right into the industry. That's what it seemed like as a child watching it.
Yeah,
new perspective, you know, looking at it now. But yeah, I think just overall, if Tyra took some ownership over that, like, this is her show, and winning wasn't exactly what she sold them, you know, or what the show sold them. I think that would have been nice to see, you know, because the one thing I keep seeing, I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 social media posts about this documentary, but all of them have been just mocking how Tyra has not taken accountability. Just period.
Yeah, she was scurrying around that thing like a roach, baby. Okay. Like them bejeweled roaches that she was putting on them girls.
No.
Like, I was appalled. It was almost like she kind of had like just like a glaze over her about talking about this in like a very real sense.
Yeah.
And it seemed very PR coached. It seemed, I was like, she must be over this documentary. She gotta be.
When you say over it, like she's
I felt like
producer?
she was I felt like she producing it.
But part of me was like, it's not making you look good, girl. You know what I'm saying? And it's not.
I don't think that's necessarily what she wants. I think what this is doing, it is allowing her to address some things without accountability. It puts it all out there with her face attached to it. Like, I know these things were happening. Because at the end, she's talking about season 25.
Girl.
So I said, oh, this was a publicity stunt, honey. This was the, let me just say, we're not going to do this again. Will I do it again? Yeah, but it's going to come with it's going to be a little different. You know what I'm saying? We paved the way for influencers and for the idea of creating your own narrative. We are the OG reality TV folks. And so I'm going to circle this thing back in 25.
So
let me address what was appropriate then and say, no, it wasn't appropriate, but I gave you what you wanted. And I'm going to give you something different. I'm going to give you what you want in 2026, baby. Yeah. That's what that was giving.
When I saw that, I thought she meant, like, my life, this new next act is cycle 25. I did not realize this girl was seriously about to give us ANTM next cycle. Ridiculous. I think she needs to just hang it up. And it's not even like, I'm not even trying to dog the show, because I was a teenager or whatever watching it, and I enjoyed it. And so I think that what she did was a good idea. What she created was a good idea. And I think that for the people who it worked for, the models that it worked for, great. But every good idea has its sunset, you know? Like, they keep, we were talking about like the ratings going down and down and down. And it's like, you know, it might just be the sunset. Because I'm trying to think about when I stopped watching it. Like, probably I don't know, sometime
I don't even
into
remember Men. I don't remember the Brits Are Coming. I don't remember the
I have
college
been stopped
version.
it. Yeah, I have been
I had
stopped by
been
then.
stopped watching it. I think
And
I
so
remember the Petite season, but that must have been like one of the
I don't
last
remember.
ones I might have
I don't
watched,
remember
if
any
that.
of the iterations, and definitely not no one without Tyra. But I do remember like Jay Manuel like slowly getting less and less in the seasons. I do remember that. But I don't think I remember the judges gone, or maybe I do. I look, but I know I stopped at a certain point. But it's just because it gets redundant, you know. Like I used to watch American Idol in the beginning. Like that's probably why I know those early people. But at a certain point, it does get redundant, and so I don't think that it's necessarily something to keep going back to feel like, oh, how can we fix? It's like sometimes the idea just has a sunset, and so be fine with that. So this Cycle 25 stuff, it blew my mind. I literally did not register that she was talking about a new season. I'm like, this girl's doing a new season. Is this a joke? Like, is this a joke?
Well, this is kind of like my prediction of what she's doing, because she, like I said, she was mentioning this idea that, you know, now reality TV is so different, and you can be like, it's a great thing to be on reality TV, right? Like you now become this influencer, and now the influencers are the models. So I feel like it's going to be some type of like influencer house type of vibe.
Yeah, no,
To
I
be
could see
quite honest.
that. I could see that.
So I don't even know if it's going to necessarily be like being about us specifically a model, more than just being a quote unquote like socialite, you know?
Yeah,
And
like a Renaissance woman, because she's probably gonna be like, I started this business, I started that. But the thing that's the through line is that I have always maintained my poise, I've maintained my whatever, my ability to influence, my whatever she's gonna tie it all together with. And that's what we're
people are gonna
on.
watch. People will watch. I do think people will watch, because all of this controversy around this show, right? She's like, I thank you for calling me out on my shit. Make sure you're open when it's time for you. But I thank you for it. Right? Like it's like she did just enough. Not even just enough, because she really didn't do jack diddly shit. But it's like she toted that line of like, do you see my crazy? Watch what crazy about to do. That's what it was given. And so there was no accountability in her tone, no sincerity in her tone. Even the stuff with Dani, I felt really bad for that, because it's like you took this girl out of her hometown and knew that if she came to this show, there was going to be no opportunity for her. The number one thing that she wanted in her life. And to go back and tell her, I knew that this show was never going to open up doors for you. Girl,
said something like that. Not exactly those words. Yeah. But yeah, something like that. But yeah, it was giving. You remember that movie she was in where she was a life-size doll? I think it was a Barbie come to life. It was giving like the grown version of that. Like it was giving very mechanical, like, I didn't. Like I just, and the fact that when they talked about Shandi's situation, right? And they were like, do you remember that? Like she was just, like, girl, come on now. That's not the way to approach it, like feigning memory loss or whatever. Yeah. And then on top of that, to throw it, I'm not the producer. I'm not production, and I wasn't involved in it. I'm not involved in editing. That I'm not involved in that. It's like, girl, it's your show. You really do need to say that shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. And there's just no way, like, because I do understand back in the day when they sat her down to talk with her about cheating, and it seemed like they were trying to make the storyline about her cheating on her boyfriend, right? I can understand if she didn't know, right? Because she might not have known, you know? She might just not have known. If she didn't know, she could have been told by producers, okay, this is the storyline. We need you to drop in and talk about cheating. And she talked to her about cheating. But I think that to not acknowledge that, like, at the end of the day, the buck should have stopped with me. At the end of the day, I should have, made sure my folks were trained, and knew that we don't invade these. We're not exploiting these girls in these moments of like that's just a character flaw of the producers to keep filming.
Yeah, but it's not even and it's like it's reality TV, and so that's what they do. I think Shandi had mentioned, the call with her boyfriend, and they were like, I'm so sorry, we had to film that. And it's like, yeah, when do you as the person behind the camera say, I'm not comfortable doing this? You know, and I'm like, y'all had issue with this, but y'all didn't have issue filming that girl blacked out, having sex.
Yeah, being assaulted.
Being
really.
assaulted?
Yeah. Because, and that's the thing. It's like you should, as a person, know that someone has had too much to drink. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's an element of like, you see it. You're like, okay, you know what I mean? And they're, you know, look.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like it was inappropriate to even have them in that apartment. It shouldn't even, I felt like it shouldn't have been a thing, but I understand that they were all, you know, like they're adults, but they were there, you know, to take them around and do the ghosty thing. They were hired for a job, you know what I'm saying? Not for it to end up like that, for sure.
But I feel like the way those guys looked, because they looked kind of nice looking, you know? It's like, were they hired to be were they hired as prop actors or whoever they have, you know, taking a paid gig on the show? Or are they?
I'm sure they were. I'm sure it's a mix of both.
Motorcyclists, because they look cuter than any motorcyclist.
They were definitely picked out of a lineup for sure. I'm sure they had a little casting.
And so that's why I feel like they did all of that on purpose. Just the thing they didn't expect probably was the SA, you know, and they just wanted to wash their hands clean of that. So yeah, unfortunate. But yeah, anything else surprised you with regard to Tyra, her accountability?
No, she didn't even want to take accountability for firing them folks. I'm sitting here like, just like you got on the phone and you was yelling about the Latino girl being on the show and you wanted to make sure you had somebody with Latin roots. You could have said the same thing and said, no, these three have been with me since the very beginning. I'm not doing that. Like, if I leave, we all leave. The show is big enough now. I could go I could go pitch to another network.
Yeah. I don't even understand how they got to that and thought that was going to make the show better. You know what I mean?
Because I have no idea.
I watched the show and they were very like entertaining, like,
and pivotal. Like, we always wanted to see Miss J get on that catwalk and walk. We always wanted to hear the critique from J. Manuel at the photo shoot. Like,
and
Tyra low-key was the least part of it. It was the judging. You know what I'm saying? She was the judging. But like through the process, we saw Nigel, Miss J, and J. Manuel. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. And one of the things that surprised me was how, like, I look at Tyra a little differently since this. Like, I didn't have a ton of knowledge about her. I just know what everyone else knows. She was in Fresh Prince. She was America's Next Top Model. She seemed like she had really great intentions, and I'm not even knocking her great intentions. But one of the things that I feel I learned from this documentary is that she seemed to have that ice coldness, you know, that turn on, turn off, that lack of accountability that is so oddly like, I'm Teflon. And there's something about that made me feel like, okay, she's got a little undercurrent that I've not even ever seen, because she says she's in Australia now.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say nothing, but I'm like, what, are you running from something? I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you like, where's your, because all these people who are pivotal in your life, you're not, they're like, the fact that she was talking to Jay, or they asked her, you know, do you want to say something about Jay? And she was like, no, I think that should be between us when we first do. And I'm like, you didn't talk to this man? Like, what is happening? Like, you don't repair, you just move on. It's giving that like ice cold queen sort of vibes. And that was interesting.
It gives what she's had to do her whole life in the industry, which is brush it off and move on and create this barrier where she doesn't feel. You know, that's what it was given to me. And so I feel like when you do that for so long, it's hard to connect. It's hard to have empathy. All you can see is, how is this impacting me, and how does it impact the success that I'm trying to have? And so I need to move around that, and not, we ain't going deep with it. We ain't getting emotional with it. We ain't doing none of that, babes. It's see you later. Like, the emotions are over here, and all that's left is just the brick wall. Flat. Nothing. It is a little scary. It is definitely a little scary. And I do think that when you get into the industry, it's hard not to become that. I could only imagine how much it would have to take for you to not see your dream and know that this is how I got to go get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when she came into the industry, she was under a lot of critique. And so all she knows is, I got to fight every which way. It doesn't matter to
Strong
get it.
defense mechanisms.
Right. And so I think when you start to build that, you learn that, and then you see all the successes now coming. It's like, oh, now you girls got to deal with it. Now the people closest to me got to deal with it. It is what it is. It's the industry, baby.
Yeah. Very cool.
And so it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I didn't necessarily feel bad for her, but I was just like, wow, how this is sad. You know, it's sad. It's sad.
I didn't feel bad for her. I just started to see her differently, because when I started the documentary, I will say that I was like, is this like a Gen Z, like they're on one, because they be on one a lot. And it's like, are they just like,
it's like, you weren't there, babes, when we was watching TV.
It's not that
like Survivor, they was racist. Like, I'm like, TV back in the day, baby, ain't built for today. It's truly not.
That's what my initial thought before I watched the documentary was like, is this, just such whatever. But I still do think this. I do think that like some of these things were not like the worst. Like, she wasn't the worst monster ever, but there is just enough of stuff, like enough, you know what I mean? Like Danielle, the girl forcing her to have her teeth, like, in order to stay in the competition. And look, as a Gap girl, I'm like, that's interesting. That's a very interesting thing. And then a couple seasons later, have somebody widening their gap after you just told girl, that's white. And then you can suddenly be like, oh, this model back in the day, iconic for her gap. Where was she at as a potential like icon for Danielle? And the fact that she just watched her struggle from afar, I think that's unfortunate, especially there's something about like inability to accept critique that's giving, I don't know, like.
She sure was throwing it back. She said, and your day will come when you have to, when somebody will hand you your shit. I said, wow, babes. Wow. But that's why I was like, it's hard to explain, because it's not like I pity you. It's not like I'm like, oh my God, I have so much empathy for you. But it's like, wow, like what a life for you to have got to this point where this is how you treat others, I feel like that's like just a really, like, it had to have been a sad life, like, and that's really unfortunate to me,
I don't get there on it, but I also don't think she's I don't think she's a villain. I just think that she is lacking empathy, lacking an ability to take accountability, lacking, like, she's just Teflon. And
I don't know, sis. When she brought that girl back, when she brought Shandi back, and Shandi said, I don't want to watch it. I have not watched it. And she played it and said, your eyes are closed. Yeah. No, nah, babe. She up there on that monster meter. Okay. I don't know.
That's so funny. Yeah. But I don't know. I also tend to sometimes like to see the best in people, but I'm not even trying to say that, because I haven't said anything about the best in her, except for the fact that she created the show. I think that's
and I just think in the beginning she had the best intentions, and it seemed like she was struggling, even like with the things that Janice was saying about people's weight, and she was advocating for the girls. And I think just as you climb up that ladder, it's like, oh, we got to get more and more and more and more extreme. All you're thinking about is the extreme and not how it's going to impact people. And that was most definitely displayed in this documentary with her lack of accountability. She said, y'all wanted this, so I gave it to you.
I know.
This is what
I said, girl.
Not blaming it on the ratings. Oh, girl. Lord.
And also, y'all, I was 17. You know what I'm saying? Most of us, like, it was college girls watching it. It was not like moms who,
My mama was watching it. I was watching it.
My mama was watching it.
Me and I am a reality TV girly because of my mother. Okay, I love New York. I was watching with my mama.
Really?
Survivor, Big Brother.
That's so
The
funny.
Bachelor.
That's so funny. Okay, well, I guess the moms were watching it, just not maybe my mom, but my mom. But I guess I was trying to say that it was a predominantly like young, young woman show, just like there was a ton of shows during that time we used to watch in the basement in college, like Bad Girls Club. Somebody said they wanted to see the documentary on that one.
Oh, baby.
But it was a
Look,
ton
let me
of
tell
stuff
you,
that was horrible, you know?
Yeah.
And so that seemed wholesome in comparison to Bad Girls Club. Like,
okay. But that's what I'm saying. Y'all could do a documentary on every single one of these shows, and it's going to look terrible now.
Yeah.
Because that was the state that TV was in, right? Like, you can watch Survivor and see the evolution from the girls just being in skimpy bikinis to now being, you know, a little bit more covered up and stuff like that.
Or even the racism of
that
has been displayed
but
on the
I
show.
chose the analogy of the bikini as like the smallest thing, because they used to dang near had their cooter out, and now it's like,
that's so
you know, they make sure they have on full things. They used to always have like the blur thing. I'm like, not this being on TV, but yeah, child, that TV back in the day was not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, but I will say that, like, even though she kept saying like this 25, of course, you know, today we think of this, 25 years ago we didn't. I don't buy that so much, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think that was just another way to not take accountability. Yes, TV was crazy back then, but there is still accountability. There is still
morals.
Yeah, there's yeah. And so I think that, I don't know, just not enough accountability. Bottom line.
Yeah, I'm
not
like, because
enough.
if the girls experiencing it knew they didn't feel good, you have other people like Jay Manuel. He was saying like the whole blackface, making everybody a different ethnicity. He said he didn't want to be a part of that. Like, if other people are saying through the process, no, I'm actually, this is where we probably need to just take a pause, there is most definitely space to say, no matter what the ratings or whatever, you know, we're trying to drive, let's find a new avenue. And then, not to mention too, just because you don't create a system doesn't mean that you don't benefit from the system.
Oh, right.
And that is where Tyra is not taking any accountability, right? Like, all of these controversial things that you're saying, oh, it boosts the ratings, and I'm not the one who created being fat phobic, and I'm not the one who created body shaming or eating disorders or colorism or texturism and all these things. But it's like, you are actively participating in it, especially when it impacted you. I feel like that's when it's like, all right now, girl, there's a lot of room here to again take accountability, and she just didn't.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of those controversies that were highlighted in the documentary. You mentioned one of them just now about the different races, that, you know, those photo shoots. Some of the former contestants were talking about that producers were heightening conflict beyond what had been aired. So Giselle, I don't actually remember her, but maybe vaguely, she was season 1, but that the folks were kind of egging on that whole situation. And even maybe the comments with regard to being ashy, you know what I'm saying, like the shea butter on the door knobs. It's like, I don't know if it's really that big of a deal, or if y'all are sitting here egging on situations. But yeah, the body shaming and wellness, like that, eat what you're eating, that seemed like that should never come out of their mouth. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then we had the on-screen SA, and we spoke about that a little bit, but these are just some of the things that were highlighted. And then Kenya's moment, and when she was in South Africa, just all these things
with the dancers.
Yeah.
Even the weaponizing the girls' traumas, that I was like, baby, not the gunshot one.
Yes.
Straight up appalled. And they only showed a few, so I can only imagine the amount of weaponizing trauma that went on the show. You know, having things that were said either in their audition tapes or I'm assuming maybe like their background checks or something like that.
They probably asked that as a question on the application. What are you scared of more than anything?
Right. Yeah, because even the fears, they weaponize their fears, because I think one of them said we would find out their greatest fears and then put them in a photo shoot with it. So yeah, it was a lot of exploitation going on start to finish. I mean, they were signing up for exploitation and just didn't know it. And you benefit when you have these very, very young women. You isolate them from any support, any advice that they can have. They're looking at Tyra as, you know, this huge role model. And then you come to find out you're getting nothing that you signed up for. You're actually going into a trauma trap.
Yeah,
Right.
no, that's real. That's real. And then even like just I mean, there's something to be said for like where we are today in terms of just information about how to deal with like harassment or SA, right? We are better equipped nowadays than we were before as a society.
Yeah.
But
And the
it's
definition has expanded to like be very clear about certain things. And so I think for some, I'll maybe even say most, we have a better understanding that like if something happens to you and it doesn't feel good, like it goes into this category.
Yeah. I remember the South Africa photo shoot with Kenya. I remember that. Like I vividly remember
Yeah.
that. And I remember at that time, I don't know how old I was. I had to be like somewhere around 20, I don't know. But I remember feeling like, just not really knowing how to clearly how would I handle that? But I felt what she was trying to say and what the discomfort was, but I didn't really know what I would do in that situation, right? And I don't think the show gave any kind of good answer to that. Even Tyra's, oh, make fun, make sure he knows. It's like, no, that teaches girls, one, to silence themselves when you respond to her vocalization the way you did, right? But then two, what Tyra was saying teaches girls to say like, oh, it has to be cute. It has to be fun. Like it can't be a hard stop. It can't be a stop this shit. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I am someone who has struggled with a stop this shit, especially from someone who did not seem like they were a threat. It's something that I'm just learning in my life right now, that when I
Yeah.
think someone's a threat, I have a very clear shut this shit down. But then if I don't, it's hard. I don't want to like make it awkward or whatever. And so I'm learning to be more direct in those lanes. And so I think that scene in particular was very damaging for those girls like me who didn't know
Yeah.
how to vocalize when it's not quite like a guy in the bushes, or it's just literally past the boundary that you don't feel comfortable with. And it ain't got to be all cute and funny games. It's like, no, back the fuck up, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no,
That kind of
I
struck me.
totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. And I feel like it's something that a lot of women till now, like even now in present day, struggle with. It could be somebody, like you said, non-threatening, you're getting to know. And it could be on the inside, I don't want to do this. Or I've said like I'm not prepared to do this, but there is still like an egging on. There's still touch. There's still a progression of things happening that can lead down a road that you're not necessarily comfortable with. And it's like, well, now I'm here. Now I'm here. Now I'm at this stage. Now I'm at this stage. And now before you know it, you're doing something that you didn't want to even engage in, right? And so, yeah, I think because women are taught to be docile, and I mean, it's such a long rabbit hole, you know what I'm saying? Like all of it is, we can talk about that in just like days, and just being desired and all the things and certain behaviors. If it's not aggressive and coming with either the boys and the dude in the bush, or lay your ass down, you know what I'm saying? It's just sometimes it just goes right over people's head,
Agreed.
Yeah, it was a lot.
One of the other things that I was very shocked and surprised by in terms of the controversies was how much they talked about them eating. I'm like, y'all in an industry known, infamous for anorexia, eating disorders, like, what are we talking about? Telling girls that they should be eating, or they not. Any mention of the food, I think, is problematic. And then on top of that, how long were they there? What, 30 days?
Thinking
how
that
much
too.
weight
I was like, is this a week process, a 2-week process? I definitely didn't think it was no month process. So I was like, how you gained all that weight? She done gained about 10 pounds since she been here. Now you showing people like angles, like everybody, when you stomping through the sand in the beach, everything a little loose. You know what I'm saying? You trying to keep your balance. So I'm sitting like, this is some drama. Like they are just taking things too far for the manufactured drama. I was not feeling that at all. And then it was kind of like, again, Tyra, if your whole thing is, I want to start this show to show people what unexpected beauty looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you participating in this?
Yeah, it's like that part. But yeah, so unfortunate. I don't know. Were there any other controversies that you want to speak on? Like I said,
No, I think that was all. There's actually another documentary coming out, I think March 11th. It's like a 3-part series. I think the first one is about Deal or No Deal. The second one might be about Fear Factor. And the third one, which comes out March 11th, is about America's Next Top Model. And Janice Dickerson is in that one.
Oh, hold up. There's another one. This is PR. You are right. This is fucking PR. I ain't got time.
But apparently Tyra is not in that one. But
Janice Dickerson,
one of the ladies.
Oh, like
terrible.
Horrible.
I had heard she made a statement like
horrible.
The girls signing themselves up for Tyra's ego. I'm sitting here like, bitch, you were saying some inappropriate. You were literally the first monster of America's Next Top Model. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Let's be very clear. You are the biggest bully. So I don't know how much I want to hear from that lady.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially if she's not taking accountability. It don't sound like she gonna take any either. If you already trying to fire shots and point fingers at Tyra.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. She was unlikable to me as a watcher of the show. I did not like her.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I used to think she was so ugly. I mean, all of that work done. I really did.
Yeah. Because she looked kind of like gum, stretched bubble gum, just not, look. But either way. So let's transition into really talking about some of the updates and surprises, like Miss J being the top surprise. I felt so sad.
I cried.
Yeah, I didn't cry, but I did get emotional. I was like, wow. I'm like, is the room a hospital room, or is the room a room because money has dried up? You know what I mean? I mean, either way, it's something.
I thought it was a hospital room, but I didn't even think about that. But yeah, I mean, because it could be at home care.
Yeah. Because he seems well enough to be at least at home, if there was the money to be able to do that. And so that's what it's interesting.
But at home care is expensive as hell, and this show was on so long ago. Granted, it seemed like Miss J, Manuel, and Nigel, they all had, careers after leaving America's Next Top Model, which I was actually happy for them for, like, to see that was happening for them, because I was like, the show tanked because you lost your people, and they on the rise. They going on and doing their thing.
Yeah.
But in terms of Miss J, I was like, wow. Like, when he said, I used to teach models how to walk, and now I can't walk. That broke me. And then when they asked, has Tyra visited you? And he said, not yet. Looking over the eyes, not yet. I'm like, take that yet off of there. Take that yet. It's been 3 years.
But didn't he say that she texted him and said
just
she
like
was coming?
She gave him a bouquet of flowers on his birthday, 5 days before he got fired.
Yeah.
Coincidence. That's what I think. Quinky dink. Hey, we're about to do this documentary. I want to come visit you.
Yeah, no, that is interesting. Something about her ain't right. Just that's the bottom line. But
I even think within the 3 years, Nigel and J. Manuel could have been there a little bit more. It seemed like they had seen him one time.
Like you think it was one time? Oh.
Yeah, they said that they visited him, it seemed like maybe in the middle of his recovery somewhere, and now they're seeing him again through the documentary. It could have been more. Maybe. I don't know. That's just what it sounded like. But, ooh. Very sad.
Yeah.
Very sad.
Yeah. And I also wondered, like, what... I just wonder, whenever things happen, like Black people really, it happens to them worse. It just does. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times. And so I wonder if some of this was the fallout, and this was his, like, maybe inability to get back into where he was because of just this didn't take him in a direction where he wanted to go. You get what I'm saying? Like, the girls on the show, they were kind of, I'm not saying they were blacklisted, but you get what I'm saying? Like, people weren't taking them seriously. I wonder if that damaged his representation in a way, because he seems to have come from high fashion, not necessarily trying to be a personality. And so I don't know. I feel like that when things damage, they hit the Black people, they hit him. And so I do wonder how that impacted him. The fact, like, just being a Black man in that industry, how that impacted his ability to keep moving on and on and on.
Yeah, it's a great question. I didn't think about it that way because it seemed like he was still doing, the model walking.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was, though. That's the only thing. It's like, what is
Well, it
this?
was
Like,
for other shows. It seemed like.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I
It
didn't
seemed like
know.
he was in
like at a
different countries
school.
doing it.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. I just so I don't know. Maybe it was great. I don't know. Maybe it was like the next level of success. I don't know. But I just wonder because
No, it definitely
where
didn't
he
seem like the next
now.
level. Now, who went to the next level was Nigel, the white man. He went to the next level.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's
Yeah.
it's like just like we were talking about with traders, there's always patterns, and sometimes people think things are benign or like they think little like no, the white man just happened to get it. It's like no, the world is sort of the white man's oyster. And so
Right.
the fact that he may have been the one to land a little bit more sturdy.
Yeah, and the thing about this, right, with Nigel being able to have success, he was not forced to be a character. You know what I'm saying? He was supposed to come in, be charming, be sweet, be nice. It was on the Jays to give a little critique,
the minority,
to be a little mean,
yeah.
right? To bring the personality, the watch factor in.
Yeah, because Nigel was a little like boring. He wasn't. I mean, not boring. Let me not talk about him like that. But he wasn't.
But he was not the entertainment
while we watched. Yeah, he wasn't
Right.
while we watched at all. Like not even the eye candy was sweet enough. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, I can see that.
But yeah,
Danielle, I was surprised that because I've seen Danielle do certain modeling things, and I thought she was a successful model. Like personally. I did. So the fact that she was just, and she had the heat, she was just like, that's bullshit. Like ending it that way was like perfect. Like,
it was.
And that's why I'm like, did you produce this, Tyra? Because like, that was just like, it kind of undercuts you a little bit. So it's like, who had did you watch this final tape? You say you've become a master editor, but like, did you watch
She definitely watched this, honey. But believe
it didn't come off very well at all.
Yes, so it's like I'm giving y'all the floor to go ahead and drag me, to hold me accountable. I'm gonna talk about or address some of these things. It's here. It's like it's in the documentary, so now it can be an open conversation. I don't have to take accountability. Y'all will talk about it, and then y'all will be ready and piped up to see what's next.
Maybe, but I think that the thing she is miscalculating, if that is her plan, is that you growing your dislike factor. And that's, I think, part of the reason why firing Miss J and like all three of the judges was not a good idea, because it's like when you do something as bold like that and you put it out there as a firing, right? People start to judge it. And if they don't agree with it, it's like they start to kind of be like, wish for the demise of it. Like they're like, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good since they took such and such off. You know what I mean? People start having those opinions and those feelings. So I feel like because you've built up this ability for them to hate you for a reason. And so why are you building up all this hate against you, and then you want it to be a successful project? I don't know. I may stand corrected. Maybe she produces.
I just Googled it. She didn't.
You saw what?
Stand corrected. She did not produce. It says the documentary was produced by others, with former America's Next Top Model colleagues like J. Manuel and Nigel Barker acting as consultants. Tyra trusted the filmmakers and did not ask for, nor was she given any authority over the final cut. Producers emphasized that Tyra's role was limited to being interviewed, allowing for an honest, independent look at the show's legacy. This is what is on Gemini's overview on Google. Is that correct? I don't know, but this is what it says, and it's linking.
But that's what it was given. That's what it was given. It was given like she did not do this because she looks bad in it. It doesn't make her look any better. And
look at me. She's trying to control the narrative.
I mean, I would almost give her credit more if she was. Like, this just seems like, girl, you could have just stayed at home. Like, but I guess she's just trying to do the publicity. So whatever. But girl, like this, she could have stayed at home. But yeah. Any other thoughts?
No, I think that is it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you have already liked the video, hyped us up, subscribe, do all the good things, share with a friend. We are on the road to 5K subscribers this year, so we would love your support in that. And we hope you enjoyed. We will catch you for Love is Blind and Bridgerton. Also, Survivor 50 and Paradise. So we about to be busy, y'all.
Yeah.
So we will see you for all of that. Bye.
Bye.